Friend, let's go all the way to the sunny state of California in this episode of the Whitening Wednesday podcast. I loved filming this episode. Not only is Gianna a fellow dental professional, but she is a home-based business, and home-based businesses always touch my heart because, as you know, I started with a home-based teeth whitening studio, and it's always so great when you stumble across teeth whitening technicians who are doing home-based so well and so successfully. So if you are home-based, this episode is definitely for you. But of course, that's not all we're going to chat about in this episode. We're going to deep dive into branding and especially business branding. Gianna is doing such a great job at tying in branding to her business. And as you notice, it's the same color as Valentine's Day. So all things pink is Gianna's jam, and it's such a smart business move. Now, from there, we're going to, of course, provide lots of tips and tricks. And I really hope this episode brings you value and insight to your teeth whitening business. So, friend, let's get on with season 3, episode 11 of the Whitening Wednesday podcast. Don't forget to like and leave us 5 stars if you love this episode. Plus, leave us some comments so we can get the conversation going in this industry. If you are a teeth whitening or tooth gem specialist, this is the podcast for you. My name's Rach, and I am the industry leader of all things teeth entrepreneurship. Together, let's learn from real-life experiences to must-have brands on how to take your business to the next level and leave that 9-to-5. Friend, welcome to Whitening Wednesday, and I'm so glad you are here. Let's build a safe industry together. Friend, if you're a teeth whitening provider, you know that time is money. So what if I told you you could get your sessions down to 12 minutes? That's 24 minutes of active chair time, and that is it. You're probably wondering, well, Rach, how do I do this? You contact Fern Whitening Supplies, you get their signature gel, and you purchase the Beyond Accelerator Light. Fern is so excited to announce that they are an official distributor and authorized dealer of the Beyond International Accelerator. This is the Beyond 2, the ultimate accelerator for safe and effective chairside whitening. Beyond holds multiple dental advisory winning certificates for their Polis light. This is their ultra light that is set to even break those records. So friend, what are you waiting for? Let's get cash flow in your business and reduce that chair time. Chat with Fern Whitening Supplies today and use code WW10 at checkout for 10% off your first order. Let's get on with the show. Happy Whitening Wednesday. Today on the show, we have Gianna with us, who is the owner, founder of Teeth That Sparkle. That is a teeth whitening studio in California. So the sunny state, which we were just chatting about. So jealous of the weather there right now, opposed to here in Canada, but I digress. So tell us, Gianna, you started as a dental hygienist in the midst of craziness, in the midst of COVID, and then you fell in love with teeth whitening. So kind of tell us about it. Was it a portion during your curriculum at school, or was it your time in the dental office? I bet it was probably crazy at that time since it was COVID. Probably whitening wasn't really being done in the office very much. So how did you find whitening?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you. You said it, COVID was such a hard time. And I always say it's so ironic that like during COVID times, we were advised to be 6 feet away from people's mouths, and dental hygienists and professionals had to literally be like down people's throats.
Right?
Yeah, like the opposite. So that was definitely a crazy time. And yeah, during school, I did really well. I actually got like the highest GPA in my class. So on the outside, it looked like I was excelling and doing great. but I honestly wasn't loving it. And
Mm,
especially it being COVID times, it just added to that anxiety and the struggle and having to just like play catch up time when we had to miss so
mhm.
much class, all of that. So I'm going to be so real with you here. I did not like dental hygiene school, but I kept telling myself, first of all, like I'm already committed. I already paid thousands of dollars. I already put so much time and effort in. I already had other students practicing the injections on me, which was a nightmare too. Anyway, long story short, I was like, you know what? I want to give this a chance in the real world. Like maybe school is just school. Like
Mhm.
everyone hates school. So I'm like, that might be normal that I'm not loving this right now. So then got out of school, started doing dental hygiene clinically, in an office. And that was okay. I was working part time, but was doing that for a year. Was kind of checking in with myself after a year, kind of like, I'm still not loving this. Like, I don't know if I can see myself doing this for years and years to come and like for the rest of my life. And sure, there's amazing aspects of dental hygiene. It's such an important career. Like, I still have so much respect for any hygienist and just, anyone in the dental field. But, for me, I was like, I just don't know if this is for me
Yes.
for many reasons. And so, yeah, around that year mark, I started doing the teeth whitenings. I got certified to do them on the side, and I just set up a little office space within my home. So I have two chairs and a light set up in my little home office. And so then for a while, I was doing both. I was doing the whitenings and I was still working in the office. But then I just kind of started comparing the two. I started realizing even more so that the patients that were coming into the dental office didn't really want to be there. They
Yes.
have fears and anxieties and they just feel like you're gagging in them, you're scraping their teeth for an hour, and then they leave not really seeing much of a result or
Yes.
difference. Whereas
Mm,
with the whitenings, people were coming for this nice, relaxing self care experience. They wanted to be there. They were excited to see these instant results. They left feeling more confident about their smile and just feeling good. And then I felt good. Whereas again, it was the opposite in the dental office where I'd leave work feeling like the patients hated me. Did I do good enough? And just the vibe was so different. And
so
so
different.
the more and more I kind of kept comparing the two and how I felt with doing, each of those things, I just decided one day, like, you know what? I'm going to pause from being in the office and I want to focus my time and energy on this teeth whitening business and see how much I can grow that. Yeah, just doing it like that. So I did my 2 weeks and then just went full force doing the whitenings. And now I've been doing whitenings for over 2 years, haven't been in the office for over a year. And I'm keeping up my hygiene license, and it does help having that background. I feel like I definitely gain the credibility from my clients. They see that I have that hygiene background because at least where I'm at, you don't have to have any dental experience
Yes.
to
Hmm.
have teeth whitening certification. But of course, it does help me
For
with just
sure.
having that knowledge. And so I can always be a resource to my clients and help guide them when it comes to oral hygiene tips and tricks and care and all that. And there's definitely times where I'll see clients wanting their teeth whitened, but I'll be real with them like, hey, you're
Yeah.
probably due for a cleaning. You want to stay on top of your cleanings. That's going to help keep your teeth white and healthy and all that. So, yeah, that's basically where I'm at now. And I've been loving doing the whitenings, loving the flexible schedule, and just making clients feel more confident and giving them that extra sparkle.
You are living the dream. That's incredible that you're already like you made the decision and it's your full force just in whitening. So tell us, what have you done that, and as you kind of mentioned in your area, which is pretty similar. I know the states are a little bit stickier in some areas, but usually it pretty much is, yeah, teeth whitening falls into the cosmetic realm. So you need to hold that license. So there are a lot more service options when it comes to teeth whitening now than definitely what there used to be. So, as this service becomes more and more popular, what are some things that you've decided to do a little bit differently with your brand or your advertising, etc.? I can think of one, we were already chatting about it, about the color pink. Like if you go on to your page, it's pink, pink, pink. I also want to talk about your goodie bags. I see they're pink. Like, tell us, what have you kind of done differently than others in your area, and where did the pink come from?
Yeah, well, maybe like selfish reasons, honestly. I just love the color pink myself. So I'm like, I'm going to rock it. That's my color. I'm sorry if I'm scaring away any boys, but I love pink and not afraid to express it. So yeah, that just became my brand color for sure. And yeah, I like doing things where I kind of think like, okay, if I was going to get my teeth whitened, like what kind of experience would I want to have? So I definitely try my best to make the room feel very relaxing and peaceful and welcoming. So I'll have like a diffuser going, usually like lavenders in there, filling up the room. And then I'll have a candle lit typically and music playing. That's just like super chill.
That's
I've
the
definitely
vibe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've definitely had some clients start snoring halfway through their session, and then they'll kind of wake up when the timer beeps and they're like, I'm so sorry I was snoring. I'm like, no, like that's the goal. I want you to be as relaxed as possible. So, yeah. And then the goodie bags, I actually have one right here.
Yes, that
I,
looks so fun.
yeah, I have some pink bubble gum. I have some flavored cocoa floss, which is the best and my favorite.
Yes.
And I include my little business card in there, which of course is hot pink too. So that, and yeah, I am really big on doing collaborations as well.
Mm,
I feel like that just really keeps me like motivated and keeps me excited, keeps things fun and new. And then, of course, like provides me with content as well
for sure.
to keep sharing. And then just amazing to collaborate with other talented local creatives. For instance, just especially this last couple weeks, we've done like some giveaways. I'll partner up with maybe like a makeup artist, a photographer, kind of get a glam squad together. So it's like the winner gets their teeth whitened and gets all pampered, maybe a massage. So that's been fun too. And again, got to keep those Instagram reels exciting and all that. But definitely ends up translating to clients. So yeah.
That's such a great point to point out is I feel like we always think that when we are in the entrepreneur space that it's us, like our business has to be doing the giveaway or our products have to be given away. But collaborating with fellow different businesses that complement each other, that's such a good idea because you're going to double your exposure or triple, like as you mentioned, multiple if you're doing like a whole pamper session. So that's such a great tip is don't feel like if you want to do a giveaway to gain more traction and followers, etc., it doesn't have to be solo. You can collaborate with your local network. That's an amazing tip. So what do you find is one of the trickiest things? Because I know a lot of providers are doing in home, so they're offering it from their home. I've done it, you're doing it. Kind of talk about some pros and cons. Like, has it taken a while to get over? I know I really struggled with imposter syndrome. I felt like I didn't have a business when it was in my home. I just felt like I was limiting myself because I wasn't pitching myself as much as I should have because I was a little hesitant having people come into my home. So, how do you feel about that? How have you kind of navigated that in home space?
Yes, no, that's a very good point. I mean, I feel like the pros outweigh the cons. The pros being I don't have to drive anywhere, just like the comfort of my own home, that kind of thing. I can really just decorate it how I want, create like we were talking about the vibe that I want. No one's telling me how to set things up. I'm not having to share a space. So
No
there's definitely,
overhead.
yeah, all of that. I feel like kind of the main and only con that comes to my mind is just like how it can be dangerous, like
For
there
sure.
can be a stranger that can walk in with like a knife. And that's my intrusive thought coming through. But typically like 99.999% of my clients are all like young brides to be. Usually it's like, someone I can put a face to the name with on Instagram. And if I do get a weird vibe, then a couple things is one, like, well, I always have my clients fill the waiver beforehand,
Mhm.
which is going to have like first and last name, their phone number, their
For sure.
address. So that's kind of a way too. I can just like familiarize with like, okay, are they someone that lives around here? There's just
Yeah,
I can narrow it down to like
for
feeling
sure.
comfortable with this person. But yeah, there has been one or two times where I get a little sketched out where I'm like, this looks like this, I don't know, this older guy that like I have no idea how he heard about me. He's being weird on text when I'm trying to confirm. So when that has happened, I am married. So when I'm scheduling the appointment with this person, I'll just like make sure my husband's home. And so that way, at least like I have like a
You're
backup,
not alone.
my own little bodyguard kind of thing. But yeah, so far it's been great. And so far, all good, knock on wood right here. But yeah, that's what I would say for now.
Yeah, great tip. Now, would you say that for the last year or so, have you been primarily getting clients through Instagram? Is that your main source for advertising?
Yeah, I would definitely confidently say yes.
And what are your thoughts? Do you feel like as you continue to grow, are you starting to think about some different options? Have you played around with some of like the Instagram ad options, or has it still been very organic?
So yeah, majority come from Instagram, but I also, especially in the early stages, I was trying to like mix it up and just really, I was really eager of like finding clients. Thankfully now, it's been pretty steady, a lot of word of mouth. And since I am pretty established now, things have been going smoothly where I don't feel like I have to find all these streams
Mm,
to advertise and stuff. But I will say at the beginning, I was kind of doing all kinds of things. Like I actually even took some business cards back to where I went to dental hygiene school
oh, nice.
because, of course, that's where all the students have to get their own patients and everything. So I was like, hey, if anyone asks about whitening, as a lot of patients do,
Yeah.
then send them my way. And then I was also going into local little shops. Like I would go to like hair salons or even local gyms and put a stack of my business cards at the front, just places where I thought people might be into getting their teeth whitened. If they care about their looks and stuff,
Yes.
maybe they want white teeth. So I was doing things like that. But yeah, Instagram's huge. I will probably be transitioning to doing more TikToks because that's
TikTok.
definitely, yeah, it's definitely kind of the next biggest platform. But yeah,
Yes, that is boots on the ground, starting it from scratch, going for it. That is literally the things that we need to do when we get started, right? So you have done absolutely everything you can do in the beginning. Now, I was on your website, and as I mentioned, love it. Continues on with your brand. Again, lots of pink. And I love doing this show because we chat with so many different techs, and regardless of how many years a tech might have, etc., it's always a learning curve, right? You always get to learn new information, or maybe not even learn new information, but like just get a reminder of some things that you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So there's a couple things on your website I want to chat about that I absolutely loved. So you have a great FAQ section, and I love that you highlight to remind patients that are red haired that most likely they are going to have more sensitivity. That's one thing that I totally forgot to flag for. Did that come from an example of like your supplier, or did this kind of come from like in school? Like, where did that reminder come from for you?
yeah, I think the person who trained me, we were just going through, sensitivity, of course, is like the number one concern when it comes to whitening. So, yeah, fun little fact that redheads can be more sensitive. And I know like that can be a factor even like with hair removal. It's like there can be a difference
Yes,
with lighter
like
hair.
waxing.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, all that is super weird and niche. But yeah, I like that you brought up sensitivity because, again, that is like a number one concern for clients. And so, if any client does make an appointment and they say they're worried about sensitivity, I always reassure them that, like, the gel that I use typically does not cause sensitivity, thankfully. And again, knock on wood. But everyone's different. I tell them, like, if you do feel sensitive, that's okay. Like, some of us are more sensitive
Hmm.
to anything in the world than others. But there's a few things that I do recommend. One is, of course, something like a Sensodyne toothpaste or like a desensitizing mouth rinse. And then also staying away from like super hot or cold temperatures. So don't go have
Hmm.
anything hot soup or ice cold water right after your appointment, especially. And then I also offer a desensitizing gel that they can add on to their service. And that's just an extra 25 bucks. It's a little take home gel that gets applied as needed, just sits on the teeth for like 3 to 5 minutes. And that helps alleviate any sensitivity. And it just gives them a peace of mind because it's something they can take home, and use when and if needed. But again, 99% of my clients don't need the gel, don't experience sensitivity, and it's not really an issue. But yeah, fun fact with the redheads.
Yes, sensitivity is definitely the number one FAQ that techs are going to get. And it's one of those things too that we're always figuring out why is it happening? How can we avoid it? And as you mentioned, at the end of the day, if you're using proper gels, proper contact time, not over dehydrating, etc., you should be able to avoid a lot of that dentin hypersensitivity. But there definitely are going to be some patients. I mean, as we know, they might like visually look like it's a healthy tooth structure, but what do we know about teeth? They are a mind of their own. Who knows? Maybe there's the smallest little microchip, or I mean, the list could go on, but it's so true. Sensitivity. I mean, our goal is to remove it, but definitely could happen. So, another thing on your FAQ that was super fun, and again, it's one of these things that, yes, makes sense. And yes, I know, but it's one thing that we definitely don't have on our site, which we should definitely add. And it's reminding patients that even within 24 hours, that high acidic foods should also be ideally avoided with those staining foods and drinks. And in my mind, I'm assuming this is really because those higher acidic foods are higher in pH. And since we've just whitened the teeth, that pH level is already pretty high, especially depending on what type of gel you're working with. So that's a great tip. So that's what's kind of coming to my mind to kind of remove those acidic foods for about 24 hours. Is there anything else that's coming to your mind on why else you would advise to avoid that 24 hours acidic foods?
Yeah, you're definitely on the right track. We just want to kind of let those teeth re-strengthen. There is a little bit of dehydrating that goes along with the whitening process.
Mhm.
So just I remind clients too to drink plenty of water, stay hydrated. And yeah, I do tell them it is a bit of a challenge for the next 24 hours, not only staying away from like acidic stuff, but the white diet that we advise them to stick to. A lot of clients like to drink coffee, and that's definitely a challenge. But I don't know if you have a Dutch Bros in Canada, but Dutch Bros here, at least, they offer a white coffee. So I always say, hey, if you need your coffee fix in the morning, then you can do a white coffee. And yeah, again, that is still a little acidic, but it's hard to be perfect. I've even whitened my own teeth with my gel, and it's definitely a challenge to stick to that white diet for the next 24 hours. So I really don't push the stay away from acidity for 24 hours too much. It's just that extra thing where if you want the best and longest lasting results, then of course you want to try your best to stick to that aftercare. I do also try to remind my clients to brush very gently. That also comes from my dental hygiene background and learning how many people have that misconception of like
Like
wanting to brush very,
scrubbing.
very hard, scrub like you're scrubbing grout side to side like this, especially even with an electric toothbrush. It's like even more force. And it just comes back to wanting to keep your enamel strong and healthy and not sensitive. So I just try to, give out those pointers. You want to just be gentle and care for your enamel.
Absolutely. And I love that, again, your website has all this info on it, and your Instagram is very informative too. You're doing such a great job at like the fun behind the scenes, but then also putting out the information that your clients are looking for. So it's such a great layout. Love what you're doing. So as we wrap up our show today, tell us, where can we find you, and what's one tip you have for a new tech or a fellow tech in the teeth whitening world?
You can follow me at Teeth That Sparkle on Instagram. I'm happy to connect there, and you can always shoot me a DM and ask me any questions you may have. I look forward to connecting and following any fellow teeth whitening techs. And as far as any advice to give to any fellow whitening technicians, one thing I would say is I do take notes on my clients. I might say, hey, they're getting married on November 22nd, and that's what they're getting their whitening for. Or just whatever notes, like, oh, they struggled putting the mouthpiece in. So I know next time maybe like try another mouthpiece or try a different way, or, whatever it may be. This allows to just create that bond with that client, and just so you remember them for the next time they schedule a follow-up whitening. And which brings me to my next point is I do like to send out a text when it's been about 6 months from that client's whitening. And I'll say, hey, I just like to check in around the 6-month mark if you wanted to schedule a follow-up whitening appointment to maintain your sparkling white smile. So I feel like that's a tip because that can just get you those clients to return and come back for your service again and again.
Absolutely. And you know that they are willing to because they've already been in. So 9 times out of 10, they should be rebooking pretty easily. So that is such great info. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. We can't wait to watch your business continue to grow. And listeners, thanks again for listening to another episode of Whitening Wednesday.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy holidays.